India is a cradle of human race, the mother of history, the grandmother of legend, and the great grandmother of traditions. So, hello everyone. In today's video lecture, we will be looking at some of the most important prose work of Indian English literature, which you definitely can't miss for any of your upcoming exam. So, in today's video lecture, we will not just be looking at the title of the works, but we will also be discussing about the author, the publication year, the themes of the work, and of course, some of the major characters of those important prose works. Without so the first important work is Untouchable. So Untouchable is a novel written by Mulk Raj Anand. It was published in the year 1935. And then what does the themes talks about? It talks about caste discrimination, it talks about social injustice, it talks about poverty and about human dignity. So we get to see the story of Laka, Baka, and there are some more characters which you will be seeing in this novel. But the most important character in this novel is none other than Bhaka, because he is the protagonist of the story, and then he belongs to a sweeper class family. He was a sweeper by profession, and then the novel takes us through the life of Bhaka, and then it explores the caste discrimination that was happening during uh, 20th century, right? So this is the first very important novel. And then remember, you have to remember all the works chronologically, because I have arranged all the work in a chronological order. So at least this will help you, exam में अगर chronologically question आते हैं तो it will help you analyze the work properly, right? So you have to remember it in a very detail, right? So the next work is So the next important work is Kantapura. So Kantapura was a novel. It was published in the year 1938, and then the author of this book is Raja Rao. And then what does the work talks about? So it talks about the Gandhian philosophy. It talks about nationalism, rural India, and it talks about how the native people were resisting against Britishers, about against East India Company. So we have major characters like Murthy. So Murthy was a young Brahmin leader inspired by Gandhi. And then we have Achakka, we have Batta. So see, Achakka is a major character here because he is the narrator of the novel. So last time there was a question on this novel which said, okay, who is the narrator of the novel Kantapura? So it was Achakka, right? So you have to remember the major characters from this novel, and then you have to remember the publication date, and then you have to remember the work. It was written by Raja Rao, right? So the next very important work is R.K. Narayan's The Guide. So the guide is very important because for this novel, R.K. Narayan has won Sahitya Academy Award. So what does the themes talks about? So it talks about self-discovery, right? It talks about love, it talks about betrayal, it talks about spirituality, and then it talks about materialism. So self-discovery kiska bare hai? It talks about Raju, right? About his character, how he has self-discovered himself. It talks about love between Rosie and Raju. And then it talks about the betrayal, how Raju betrays his lover, his love interest Nalini, and then he goes to jail for the case of forgery. So it talks about that. So the major character of these novels are, we have Raju, who is the protagonist of this novel, who is a tourist guide, and later he becomes a spiritual leader. And then we have Rosie, a dancer and Raju's lover. And then we have Marco. So Marco was an archaeologist, and he also happens to be Rosie's husband. So this is a very important novel by R.K. Narayan. So you have to remember the publication, you have to remember the protagonist, who is Raju, and then you have to remember it talks about self-discovery, and then it talks about the spiritual journey of our protagonist, who is Raju, the guide. So the next very important work is Train to Pakistan. So Train to Pakistan is a novel written by Khushwant Singh. So Khushwant Singh is also one of my favorite novel writers. And then this work was published in the year 1960. And then what does the work talks about? So it talks about the partition of India. It has the backdrop of partition, right? It talks about the communal violence, it talks about humanity, it talks about hatred. It talks about the hatred between two community, that is Hindu and Muslim, right? So it has the backdrop of partition. So it talks about the horror and the the result of partition. you know यहाँ पे story revolves around characters like Jaggu, Iqbal Singh, Hukum Chand, Nuran. So these are the major characters that you will be seeing in the work of Khushwant Singh, that is Train to Pakistan, right? And you have to remember one more thing about Khushwant Singh. Khushwant Singh का एक biography है which is Truth, Love and Little Malice. So this work is asked so many times in your exams, right? The next important work is Midnight's Children, written by Salman Rushdie. So it was published in the year 1980, and then this work is very important because it has won so many awards, right? So first of all, it has won Booker Prize, and then it also won Booker of the Booker Prize, right? For that reason, this work is very, very important. And what does the work talks about? So it talks about post independence, it talks about identity, it talks about history, and it talks about memory. But the most important part about this work is it has the element of magic realism, right? So ये कैसे magic realism को explore करता है? We have a protagonist whose name is सलीम सिनाई. तो ये जो क्या होता है, ये midnight of the independence में born होता है, जिसका वजह से उसको एक power मिलता है, right? So for that reason इसमें बहुत सारा magic realism का pinch है जो ये वर्क को बहुत ही स्पेशल बनाते हैं, राइट? सो this is it about this work, and you have to remember some of the major characters of this work, like Salim Sinai, who is the protagonist, and then he was born in midnight of independence. And we have Shiva, his rival. He was also a midnight child, I mean. And then we have Parvati the witch. She is a magical character. And then we have Adam Sinai, right, who is the son of Salim's son, right? So Adam Sinai is a son of Salim, right? So this is it. This is what you have to remember about the Midnight Children, written by Salman Rushdie. So the next important work is That Long Silence. It was written by Sashi Deshpande. So this work was published in the year 1988, and then it has the theme of feminism. It talks about silence, and it talks about voice, it talks about gender roles and domestic life, right? So see, whenever you read the work of Shashi Deshpande, it usually has the element of feminism and of course the gender role, right? So in this novel we have our protagonist whose name happens to be Jaya. So Jaya is also the narrator of this novel. So it revolves around the life of Jaya. So Jaya was a frustrated housewife, and then it talks about quest for her identity, right? So Jaya जो क्या होता है कि Jaya was a name given by her father, and then उसका जो husband होता है उसको एक नया नाम देता है, which was Suhasini, right? So she has that feeling that she was not living her life for herself, rather she was initially she used to be her father's daughter. Now she is just the wife of her husband, right? So it talks about that. It has that domestic life happening throughout the novel, and then you will with the help of the character Jaya, you will be exploring the gender roles that takes place in India, right? The patriarchal society, the male dominance, and then how women are expected to be remain at home and then take care of the house. So it talks. So the next work is The Shadow Lines, written by Amitabh Ghosh. So this work was published in 1993, and then the theme has memory, identity, nationalism, borders, and its illusions, right? So this novel is divided into two parts, and this is one of the most important works of Amitabh Ghosh, because it is because of this work he has won Sahitya Academy Award, right? So for that purpose this work is very important. So we have major characters like Ila, we have Tridip, and then we have unnamed narrator who recalls his childhood, and then we have May Prince. She was an English woman connected to the family of Ila and Tridip, right? So the next very important work is The God of Small Things, written by Arundhati Roy, published in the year 1997, and that she has won a Booker Prize for this very work in the year 1997. And then the best part about Arundhati Roy is that she is a social activist, and she was born in Shillong. Yes, she was born in northeastern part of India, in Shillong, which is also asked so many times in various exams. And then what does the work talks about? The work talks about caste system, it talks about forbidden love, it talks about family trauma, and then it explores the political unrest. So we have major character Rahel and Esther, who happens to be a fraternal twins, and then we have Amo, who happens to be their mother, and then we have Baluta. So Baluta is an untouchable carpenter who is also a moose lover, right? And then we have baby Kochamma. So baby Kochamma is an aunt, right? So the story is set in Kerala. So it revolves around the life, and then the childhood story of the twins Rahel and Esther, right? So this is also one of the major work of Indian English novel. You have to do. So the next important work is The White Tiger. So White Tiger is a novel written by Arvind Adiga. So it was published in the year 2008. And then the work talks about the class system, the class discrimination between upper class and lower class. It talks about the corruption. It talks about ambitions and modernization of India, right? So we have characters like Balram Halwai, we have Ashok, we have Pinky Madam, and then we have Great Socialist, right? So एक चीज़ है देखिए, The White Tiger is a novel, and then it is also a movie which is available on Netflix, right? So Balram Halwai bhi hai यहाँ पे. Ashok is a character played by Rajkumar Rao. We have Pinky Madam, who whose character is played by Priyanka Chopra. So it is available on Netflix. You can go and watch it. This is a very interesting novel, and then आपको मूवी भी काफ़ी अच्छा लगेगा, because this is the same adaptation. जो ये story है वो same movie भी है, तो इसमें कोई mixed नहीं है. So this work is important, and then why this work is important? Because this work has won Sahitya Academy. This work has won Booker Award, right? So for that purpose this work is important. And then of course you have to remember the themes, you have to remember the major characters, and then of course you have to remember the publication date of the novel, right? So the next and the last important work is The Lowland. So Lowland is a novel written by Jhumpa Lahiri. She is a diasporic writer. It was published in the year 2013, and then the work talks about the political movement. It talks about Naxalite movement. It talks about migration. It talks about the grief of people. It explores the relationship of family through the characters like Subhash Mitra, who is also the elder brother. We have Udyan Mitra, younger brother. We have Gori, Udyan's wife, and then we have Bella, who is Gori's and Udyan's daughter, right? So through this character you will be seeing the major themes which I have just spoken it now. It also explores the political movement, Naxalite, and of course the migration, right? So one thing for sure that you'll be finding in the work of Jhumpa Lahiri is the migration, immigrants, and it talks about the nostalgic sense, that you will be seeing through the character of her novels. Jisme they feel the sense of alienation, they feel the sense of missing their home. So this is a typical characteristics of diasporic novel, so you will be getting to learn that, right? So this was it for today's video. Thank you for watching my video till the end.